common things that we see and recommendations that we have to see if it's a good fit for your child. The second thing we're going to talk about is some of the top reasons we see that some children need vibration technology. So there are a lot of reasons, but we narrowed it down to some of the top ones. We're going to share some success stories, and these are real life successes coming from parents, teachers, and clinicians that have used this technology and shared their feedback with us. And then we're going to go into the science behind it. We've got a lot of research showing the efficacy of using vibration technology, how it works, why it works, and we're going to go into that for you guys. And then finally, we're going to finish up with what is our story at Revive Technologies and explain why we are so passionate about this and helping kids. All right, so the first question, is vibration reminder technology right for your child? So we get this question often. We do also offer one-on-one calls if you have more specific questions than this, but these are just some broad questions that you can ask yourself, the parents, if you're working with any type of professional as well, to get a better idea of whether or not this vibration reminder technology may be a good thing to try. So the first thing is just, are they motivated to do better? So we see often kids that are struggling in class. They may be struggling with getting low grades or lengthy task completion, but they want to do better. They'll come home and they'll be frustrated and say, you know, Mom and Dad, I was trying today, but I couldn't get it done in time. Or if homework time is a struggle and they want to do better, but they just get frustrated because they're easily distracted. So that's one key thing. If the children are motivated to do better, that's a great sign that the vibration reminder technology may be a good thing to try. And we'll go into how it works and why that's important. The second thing is, do they often need redirection? So for parents, they'll often notice this at homework time. If you're constantly having to kind of hover over them and make sure that they're staying on task, homework takes a long time to be completed. Or if you hear that feedback from teachers, perhaps, where the teacher's, tapping them on the shoulder, Johnny, make sure that you're getting back to work, you're, writing down your notes, things of that nature, where they often just need that little tap on the shoulder or that little reminder, verbal reminder to get back on task. So that is one of the premises behind the vibration reminder technology and why it works, is it's just like that little tap on the shoulder to help them be redirected on their own. And the third thing, which we'll go into, is whether or not they take redirection from parents and teachers. So this one is not really a black and white thing, because what we've seen a lot, especially with parents at homework time, is it just becomes a little bit of a battle to complete homework. And it's not the fault, particularly of the kid or the parent. You're both doing the best that you can, but you're trying to help them complete the task at hand, and they may be getting a little frustrated because they're easily distracted. So in general, kids that will take redirection from parents or teachers are great candidates. But if they're not, it doesn't actually exclude them from potentially benefiting from vibration reminder technology, because this is a device. It's a fun wristband. Well, they'll see progress and emojis and things like that to get them more excited and independent about being redirected, instead of, a mom, a dad, a teacher calling them out and trying to redirect them. So that third one, if that doesn't fit your particular child, don't be discouraged. We've seen great results where they take redirection from a fun wristband a little bit better than an adult. And it's no fault to the adults at all. It's just reduces the frustration and increases the sense of independence. All right, so continuing on, are you, your child, or your teacher looking to foster independence? So we just talked about that a little bit, but the main reason why vibration reminder technology is so helpful for these kids is because they can actually redirect themselves and feel a sense of pride and independence, where, normally a teacher may have to tap on their desk or tap on their shoulder and just, politely remind them to get back on task. Instead, they may not need that as often from the teacher, because this little wristband is doing it for them. So fostering independence is huge, and we see that kids really start to flourish when they feel more independent and empowered, because they get excited about making that progress. So the second thing is boosting self-esteem. These three things kind of all work hand in hand, but we've seen some really great examples of it boosting self-esteem, because the kids have this little wristband that they can say is a watch or a Fitbit, but it's actually helping them succeed academically. And so combining those two things, the independence as well as the vibration reminder wristband actually helping them achieve better outcomes, it helps boost their self-esteem. They see progress. They can be proud and say, you know, my focus rate is going up, my response rate is going up, and actually get really excited about it. And the third thing is being more empowered. So this is huge for us. We love to hear stories about empowering kids with this technology. The reason why we get so excited about it is because school and homework, instead of being a frustration, becomes something exciting and fun. And when the kids start to see progress where the vibration reminders are actually helping them stay on task and have better outcomes, they are very proud of themselves, they feel independent, and they're very empowered by this. And so those are three things that we really love to harp on, because those are three things that we've seen as outcomes: an increased sense of independence, increased self-esteem, and also feeling more empowered. So those are three things that if you, the teacher, or your child are looking for, could be a really great sign that vibration reminder technology may be worth a try. All right, so let's get into a little bit about how it works. So we've described whether or not this may be a good fit for your child. Let's actually explain how it could be a good fit. So the first step, obviously, is that attention drifts. Then what happens is the Revibe Connect will send a reminder vibration. So this is where, when they feel this vibration, they ask themselves if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And what they can actually do with the Revibe Connect is they can tap on the face of the device to tell it if they were on task or off task. So it's a two-part system where it is reminding them to get back on task, but then they also are interacting with the device to tap back about their behavior. The third step is that this data is collected, and at the end of the school day, you'll just sync it up to our Revibe Connect app. And that's where you can see metrics like their focus, their responsiveness, their steps, and something called fidgets, which we'll get into. That data is sent to our cloud. We actually use a HIPAA compliant server. So we're not a medical device, but we do take privacy and security that seriously, that we treat it like medical information. And then the fourth step is that either the parent or the teacher can view updates on the student's behavior through our app. And then the fifth step is that you can see little encouraging messages and animated icons. So an example of this is when the kids make progress, a little rocket ship will actually fly across the screen, or they'll see a thumbs up and it'll tell them good job and great progress, which the kids get excited about. And I mean, I do too, they're kind of cool. All right, so the top concern. So we couldn't have an open and honest conversation if we just told you all of the really great reasons and we didn't go over some of the concerns that we've seen as well. So for those of you that don't know, this is actually our second product. So we had a similar vibration reminder wristband that we launched back in 2015. And we took that as all the things that we learned from that vibration reminder wristband, and we used that to develop the Revibe Connect. So one of the main things that we saw with that first device is that kids were often afraid of being embarrassed. So the first device was just the vibration reminder wristband. It didn't have any other functionality. So if another kid would ask them, hey, what are you wearing? We heard from some parents that the child would get a little bit embarrassed because they didn't have a good answer besides like, oh, it's helping me focus. And then they would ask more questions and they just felt a little bit embarrassed by it. So we took that feedback very seriously when we were making the Revibe Connect product. And so we included two things that are pretty common features for other devices to try to make it blend in a little bit more for those kids that were worried about being embarrassed. So the first thing we added was a watch feature. So you can see in the top right, it shows the time. So if another kid asks and says, what are you wearing? They can just say, oh, it's just, a new watch. And if they tap on the face of the device, it'll actually show the time. So it's a very easy way to not really call a lot of attention to what they're wearing. The second thing that we incorporated was a step counter. This has multiple purposes. We actually use it for some of our analytics about how they're focusing and whether or not steps may be, good for their focusing in some classes and maybe not so good in other classes. So we use it for more advanced features as well. But we always encourage kids, if they don't want to talk about what they're wearing or if they're struggling to focus, we always encourage them to just say, oh, it's like a Fitbit. It counts my steps and it has a watch. So that way they don't have to answer that anything about focus and attention. They can just talk about, the watch feature or the step counter, things like that. All right, so another concern with that self-reporting feature that I talked about. So remember, when it vibrates, you can tap back on it. So you can tap twice for yes, they were on task, or tap once for no, I was off task. So like I said, we had our first product back in 2015 that didn't have this feature. It was just the vibration reminders. So when we added this feature, from the very beginning, the number one concern for us and for parents as well is, will the children answer honestly when we're asking for them to self-report whether or not they're on task or off task? So to start, to give you guys a little bit of a background, we originally, when we were in the lab trying to come up with this new product, that was a big concern for us. So we started by doing a lot of research on other applications of self-reporting to see if this was even a good idea or if we shouldn't even bother. So we did a lot of research on self-reporting for other applications. They actually do use it in the focus and attention space in a little bit differently. Like they'll have little charts, little progress charts, things like that. Sometimes they're color coded, will just be like red, yellow, green type of thing. But there is self-reporting used pretty commonly in the classroom as well as for focus and attention applications. And what we found out from our research before developing the Revibe Connect was that they were actually very honest with self-reporting data. As long as it wasn't, they weren't incentivized to lie, we really saw very promising research on accuracy of children self-reporting their own behavior. So once we saw that, we were very encouraged about adding this feature into the device because we knew that we could create all these other metrics and have really powerful analysis from the self-reported behavior. So once we moved into the prototyping phase of Revibe Connect, we actually did our own research on self-reporting, and we had a trained observer actually watch the kids and align her observations with when the Revibe would vibrate so that we could see when they respond, yes, I was on task, does that trained observer comparatively agree with that assumption? So what we did is we had our observational analysis, and we also had the self-reporting data from the children, and we compared the two to see how accurate they were. And we saw really encouraging results where it was actually in the 80s of how accurate the kids were, and this was their very first time wearing Revibe. So we were very encouraged by that as well, that the children naturally will answer pretty honestly. So the second piece of this is, how can we additionally foster honesty? Because a little bit is about how we actually present this to the child. If we say, if your focus rate is 100%, you're going to get ice cream tonight, will that incentivize a little bit of dishonesty? It's hard to say. But there are definite ways that you can foster that honesty to minimize this concern. So the same thing that we were talking about earlier, we tried to incentivize other metrics that didn't have to do with their self-reporting behavior. So one of them is called focus points. And it's just an overall metric that combines all of the others, and it just creates one point. And what that does is that just gives the kids a really easy to understand metric of, what's today better than yesterday, where my focus point's higher. So if they don't want to dig into any other metrics, they can at least look into the focus points and see whether or not they're doing better or worse. So what we did is we give the kids the same number of focus points, whether or not they responded that they were on task or off task. So when we explain this to the kids, there's no incentive for them to be dishonest because they're getting the same number of points. What actually increases the number of points is for them responding. So if they don't respond, they don't get any points, but if they respond yes or no, they get 1 point for each. So this is one of the ways that we try to foster honesty by not incentivizing one answer over the other and giving them the same number of points for both. The second thing is we do have a focus rate metric, which most parents and teachers are very interested in for obvious reasons. But we try to encourage parents and teachers when talking to the kids or looking through the app together to not hyper focus on the focus rate, no pun intended, because the focus rate is something that will increase over time if they are, using Revibe and they're motivated and all the things that we already talked about. So what we encourage parents and teachers to focus on with the kids is the response rate, because we want that response rate to be higher, meaning the kids are actually tapping on the device, wearing the device, interacting with the device, because that means they're going to get more vibration reminders, there's more data collected, we have a better picture of how that child's day was. So we really encourage that they just respond every time it vibrates, respond honestly, and use the focus rate for your own analysis, whether it's you, the teacher, or a professional, but try not to encourage the children to just get a higher focus rate inorganically, and that will really help to foster the honesty. The third thing is that the Revibe has a lot of advanced algorithms on board that is taking into consideration all of this data and adjusting itself to try to customize to that particular child's needs. So one of the things that we tell children straight up front is that the Revibe can only help its best if you're honest, because if you're not honest, the Revibe is adjusting itself based on answers that aren't the real answer. So if they're motivated to be assisted, if they want to do better, explaining that the Revibe helps much better if you're giving it an honest answer so it can help you. We've heard a lot of great feedback from kids that that makes them understand how the whole process works, and they're not going to get penalized for, the wrong answer. So the fourth thing kind of stemming from that is just letting the Revibe do its part. So like we said, we've got a lot of research and development into this product and actually having it customize and adapt to your particular child's needs. So don't hyper focus on if they have, a bad day or they're struggling a little bit. Like, let's work together, let the Revibe customize itself to your child. Let's see what we can do to improve things, and just worry about progress and not perfection. Because some kids, I'm not perfect. My focus rate has never been 100%. It's just not really feasible in the real world because things happen. So just letting the Revibe do its part, encouraging honesty, getting that response rate up is really the best way to not have a concern about whether or not they're not responding honestly. All right, so we're also going to talk a little bit about what makes vibration technology not work out for certain children. And this is a little bit of a hard question because sometimes it is on a case-by-case basis. But honestly, the number one reason that we have returns is just because a parent or a grandparent will purchase it for their child. And, you get all excited, you hand the box over like, oh, I got you this new cool Revibe Connect. And the kid opens it and just says, I don't want to wear this, and puts it back in the box, and we get the return. So it sounds kind of silly, but honestly, the number one thing really is just asking if your child is willing to give it a try. It doesn't have to be like the coolest new gadget that you're dying to get for Christmas, but like we talked about earlier, if they're motivated, if they're willing to do better, if they know that they're struggling with staying on task and this could help them and they get excited about it, that's really where we see success. And we have a very low return rate, honestly, but the returns we do see, I would say probably, half of them are just because the kids didn't even want to wear it. They didn't want to take it out of the box and try it on. I would say probably the second thing is just we have some kids that have sensory sensitivities. So we added some features to try to assist with that. The main thing is we can now change the vibration strength, which we couldn't do before. So for kids that maybe are a little bit more sensitive, you can actually put it on a soft mode. And that helps a lot with the sensory sensitivity issues. But again, that is something that we've seen. Some kids just don't like wearing something on their wrist. It's not super frequent, but it has happened in the past. So really our main suggestion is just showing them a picture, going to our website, and just explain a little bit about how it works and get their input. See if they're willing to give it a try. It sounds simple, but honestly, that's the best thing that we've seen so far. Just getting their buy-in a little bit and just saying, hey, this will send, a gentle vibration to your wrist and it'll help you stay on task if you're, finding that you're distracted. We also have some custom text reminders and other features that we can go over that they may be interested in. But honestly, the biggest thing, the number one thing that we see is just the kids don't get excited about it when you give them the box. So that's the number one thing we see, just asking, are you willing to give it a try? Are you open-minded about helping to improve your focus and attention? And if they are, it's definitely worth giving a try because that's a big thing. All right. So now we're going to go into some of the reasons why we see people investing in vibration reminder technology. So the first thing is academic outcomes. Most of the time it's, grades, progress reports, things like that. So it's a little bit hard to see, but we had this really amazing testimonial from a customer that her child was in, the 60s for some of their core classes and is up into the 90s after wearing Revive. So that's absolutely amazing. We love seeing stuff like that. But one of the main reasons that we'll see customers become interested or actually purchase is because they'll get that report card back and the grades have dropped, or they get a progress report back and they're not seeing the results that they were hoping for. So academic outcomes is definitely probably one of the top things that we see that leads people to things like this, where they just want to ask more questions and find out more if it might be a right fit. The second is lengthy task completion. So for parents, this may resonate with homework time. We have heard some stories about how kids and parents work together for, hours at a time every night trying to complete homework. And so the lengthy task completion, when they're, constantly getting distracted or off task, can really be a sign that this may be worth looking into, just to try to get that task completion time down so that homework time isn't so frustrating. They may not be able to complete assignments in class or quizzes on time. So some of these academic outcomes that we're talking about are not because the kids aren't smart or not capable. It's just it takes them longer to complete a task. So, they may leave half of the quiz blank, and it's not because they didn't know it, they just didn't have enough time. So that's a big thing that we see as well. The third thing is lack of visibility. What we mean by that is often parents will send their kids to school in the morning and they have no idea what goes on throughout the day. It's very common. And we also have, kids from parents that work here, and they say, I'm not really sure what happens in school time. And then they come home from school and you say, hey, honey, like, how was school today? What'd you do? Anything fun, exciting? What'd you learn? And it's like, oh, it was fine. It was good. So parents and even sometimes teachers don't have good visibility of the whole school day and what's going on, what may be going well, what's going not so well. So one of the main reasons why we wanted to develop this app was so at the end of the day, you could sync up to your Revive and see how the day went for your child. Even if they maybe don't want to talk about it, you at least have some of the data so you can see, okay, English class today didn't go so well. But math class went really well, so that's exciting news. So the fourth thing is concerned about side effects. So Revive Connect is not a medical device. It is a behavior intervention tool. So we don't make any medical claims. You may notice if you follow us on social media, we can't answer any questions about medications or things like that because I'm not a doctor. It's not a medical device. But we do have a lot of customers that come to us because they're concerned about side effects of alternatives. And the good thing about Revive Connect is it's just a wearable wristband like a Fitbit, and so there really are no side effects. And so we have a lot of people that are just willing to try it because they're concerned about some of the alternatives. So these are probably the top 4 reasons that we've seen people be interested in the Revive Connect. But I want to go ahead and start a poll so that you guys can give us your feedback. Let me see if this launches. All right, so I'm asking a poll, why are you interested in vibration technology? And see if it's one of those 4 things, like the grade improvement, the faster task completion, more visibility, concerned about side effects, or another reason. All right, awesome. Looks like task completion and grade improvement. We also have other. So if you guys are other and you don't mind sharing, just type it into the chat box and we'll try to circle back on it and see if it's something that we've experienced before and we can talk about at the end. All right, awesome. It looks like we've got a little over half of you voted, so we're just gonna give you 1 more minute to respond. It looks like grade improvement and faster task completion were almost neck and neck. We saw all 4. Yep, we see that too. Improve self-esteem. Yep, that's a great one. All right, perfect. Thanks you guys for giving us more information. We really appreciate that. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end the poll just so we can keep moving. All right, so it looks like majority of you were concerned about faster task completion. Second was grade improvement, and we want visibility and concerned about side effects. All right, thank you guys for sharing. We really appreciate that. All right, so these are some of the success stories, and depending on your screen size, they may be a little bit difficult to read, but I'll go ahead and read them for you. So on the left-hand side of your screen is actually, we just got this in, it's a progress report. So you can see on the left-hand side, the first progress report there, anywhere from the high 50s up to the mid 80s. And then the highlighted part in yellow is when they started wearing Revive, and they're really amazing. They're in the 80s and 90s. So like I said, this isn't something that we can guarantee for everyone. I would love it if we could get to the point where we could, but we definitely see this type of academic outcome quite frequently where, you know, the kids were perfectly capable, they're smart kids, they just get very distracted. So it's not a matter of, you know, they're not smart enough, they're not good enough, which is often, we've actually talked to some of the kids and that's what they said. It's kind of heartbreaking where they say, you know, oh, I think it's just because I'm not smart enough or I'm not good enough. And that's absolutely not the case. They are plenty smart. They are good enough. They just have difficulty staying on task, and that's okay. And that's why we're so passionate about helping. So that's an example of an academic outcome like we were talking about. The middle, this is actually what our dashboard looks like. So it's 2 side-by-side comparisons, and I believe they're about 9 days apart. So on the left-hand side, you can see all of our 6 metrics. So we've got the focus score, attention span, focus rate, response rate, steps, and fidgets. And on the right-hand side, you see those same 6 tiles after 9 days of wearing Revive. So the really amazing thing, the top right, that green tile, we can see the attention span went way up, which is awesome. You have those little rocket ships that are showing great progress in those areas. The focus rate increased slightly, but like I said, we try not to harp too much on the focus rate. But if you look in that maroon box on the right, the response rate went from 33% to 91%. And that is awesome. We love to see the response rate getting up in the 90s and even 100%, because that means that the kids are interacting with the Revive, they're using it, they're getting the reminders, it's adjusting to what their custom needs are. So that's really amazing to see. So this child overall, their progress, and you can see their focus score like went through the roof because their response rate went through the roof. And so this kid made really, really great progress. And I'll just read the blurb of what the mom sent us. I'm beside myself at the progress and his ability to focus using it. His grades have already gone up. He's passing tests that he wasn't able to pass before. I love that it's just the perfect gentle reminder he needs to stay on task in class. If your child suffers with ADD or ADHD, I highly recommend spending the money on this. So that was amazing, and we really thank her for sharing that story with us. And the bottom right, this is actually back in 2017. So this was using our Revibe Classic, which, like I said, was just the vibration reminders. It didn't have all of these advanced features that we've been talking about. But this testimonial was a complete surprise. We walked into the office and saw on our Amazon page this testimonial, and all of us were very emotional about how amazing this was. So I'll just take a second to read it. The mom wrote, included a picture of her child and said, "Thank you for this. Pictured is my beautiful 11-year-old daughter. We have not seen this look in quite some time. Schooling has been such a struggle, and it's even harder when you just don't feel good enough. We've tried everything since Maddie's diagnosis of ADD. This gave her back her independence. She loves it and refuses to work without it. She cried literal tears when she received her first passing grade. Though it was only a 65%, it was hers. She did it all alone. This product has opened a world of I can for my daughter. This picture was taken yesterday after she scored her first 75%. Revibe has changed the game, and we are so appreciative." So that is an absolutely amazing testimonial, which I have actually held on to ever since the mom wrote that for us over a year ago, because it just shows how impactful it can be for these kids that they feel like they're not good enough, but that is not at all the case. They're more than capable. They just need a little bit of help to just stay on task and be reminded. So we really appreciate all of these testimonials and success stories. And our customers are awesome. What can we say? All right. So if you're wondering what happens if I don't see a success story like that with my child, what do I do? So the first thing that we ask is to reach out to us directly for help. The company was actually founded by a school psychologist, and his expertise was in ADHD and on the autism spectrum. So he is really, really knowledgeable in the area of focus and attention and helping kids, and that's what he made his living doing. So reach out to us. We have an amazing customer service and technical support team. If you have any questions or it's not working well and we need to adjust some things, we'll work through that with you. We really want to help in any way that we can. So the first thing, if you're not seeing success, just reach out to us. We are happy to help you in any way we can. And Rich, the school psychologist, can also jump in if there's a very specific question that needs his expertise. So the second thing is there is an adjustment period, so be patient, and this varies based on the child. So like an example of this is some children already wear a watch or a Fitbit or something. So the idea of wearing something on their wrist is not a foreign concept. But for some of the younger kids, they've actually never worn something on their wrist before, let alone felt something vibrating on their wrist. So sometimes there is a little bit of an adjustment period. We do recommend that you try this out during homework time before sending them to school, just so that way you can be there to guide them and answer any questions that they may have. You don't have to do that. That's just what we recommend. But in general, some of the kids will pick it up and immediately the first class period that they're wearing it, they'll just jump right in and be good to go. And for others, it takes, a few days just to get used to something vibrating on their wrist and things like that. The third thing is that it's just not for every child sometimes. And it's completely okay if it is not for your child. If you give it a good try and you reach out to us and we troubleshoot with you and it just doesn't work out, that's perfectly okay. We have some children that it just doesn't work out for. And that's why we offer 100% money back guarantee for 90 days. Even if you buy through Amazon, we will still honor that 90-day return. Because from the very beginning, our motto has been, it doesn't make any sense for you to have something that doesn't help you. So we don't want you to have to be forced to hold on to a product that you don't like or that doesn't work for you. So we are very flexible with our return policy, and we always understand if it just doesn't work out for whatever reason, we will refund your money, 100% money back guarantee for the first 90 days. All right, so some of the science behind this. So why does vibration reminder technology actually work? So the main thing is metacognitive awareness and metacognitive regulation. So in short, what this means is you can actually control how you learn and what you're thinking about. So when the Revibe vibrates on the wrist and they think, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? That's a practice in metacognitive awareness, just being aware of, in that moment, what are they thinking about? What are they doing? And then the regulation piece is just getting back on task. So receiving that vibration reminder, understanding, oh, I was looking out the window, I'm supposed to be taking my quiz right now, and changing the behavior so that way they get back on task. And so one of our early supporters was actually Keith Connors. He is a little bit of a celebrity in the ADHD community. He invented one of the main rating scales that's actually used for ADHD. And so he basically said that there's a lot of quick, rich gadgets on the market, and our program is an honest, scientific, and long-range program that is needed. You seem to have a meaningful, non-pharmacological tool for a wide variety of normal as well as impaired children. You may certainly quote me as an enthusiastic supporter of your Revibe Connect program. So we certainly appreciate Dr. Connor's support. All right, so we did do a research study. I'll keep this brief because it is posted on our website if you'd like more information, but we did do our own research study and we saw that 83% of students with self-regulation deficits, meaning they struggle to stay on task, saw immediate and sustained improvement using Revibe. So basically 83% of the kids that were wearing Revibe in our study did actually see an improvement in time spent on task. 19% was the average increase in on-task behavior. We were actually shooting for about a 5 to 10% gain. So this was really exciting for us that they can spend 20% more time on task. And for half of the participants, it ranged anywhere from 15% to 110% increase in on-task behavior. And overall, it was about a 38% increase for that top half of the participants. So we saw really great results. We were really proud of that. All right, so we'll go into last but not least. I mentioned briefly, but this is our founder, Rich Francaccio. He is a school psychologist, and this company was founded and the tool was invented because he was working with kids and he just wasn't satisfied with the products that he had at his disposal in the school system. So he just decided to invent his own. He realized that, that these kids needed more help and they weren't being helped in the way that he thought was best for them. So he literally went to Radio Shack and put together the first little prototype of Revibe, and that's how we were born in 2013. 2015, we launched our first product, Revibe, and then we just a few months ago officially launched the Revibe Connect that we were talking about. So the reason why we're so passionate about helping kids and we want to be honest about whether or not it will work for you is because this is revolving around a school psychologist who just wanted to help kids. So that's our main goal. That's what we're passionate about. And that's one of the things that we've stayed true to for quite a few years now. All right, so you guys made it to the end. Yay for you, congratulations. As promised, we are putting together a special webinar bundle just for you guys that stayed on the webinar. So you can go to that link at the top. We are also, I believe Morgan's gonna type it into the chat box if you wanna copy and paste. We are also going to send you a follow-up email with the link. But what you're gonna get is you're gonna get our Revibe Connect device, of course, and we're bundling that with 13 months of the Plus plan, and that gives you an extended warranty. You also get all of the data and analytics we were talking about. It has custom text reminders that you can send to the kids throughout the day, things like write down your homework or brush your teeth. We also have a schedule feature, so you can input their schedule and it will adapt based on their schedule, and you can look at certain classes over others. So all of that good stuff is our Plus plan, and we're giving it to you bundled with 2 replacement bands, our blue and our purple. All of that is going to be a $40 savings. If you go to that link, it's actually a hidden link, so you won't find this offer on our website. It's just for you guys that sat through the webinar. And like I said, we'll follow up and send you all this link via email as well. This offer does expire in the next 48 hours because it is exclusive to you guys. So please feel free to jump on our website and go ahead and purchase at /webinar-bundle. In the bottom left, we also have our email and our phone number. So if you have any other questions that we don't get to tonight, definitely reach out to our customer service team. They're amazing. We love them, and they'll be happy to take care of you. All right, so at this time, Morgan, did you have any good questions that we should follow up on?
Let's see here. I was just gathering that up. Just a few things that you touched on, I believe, just the age range of that we recommend for users 6 and up.
Yeah, so we this was targeted for kids specifically, but we actually do have some adult users that use it in the office. So it's ages, like she said, it's ages 6 and up. We do have mostly kids that use it in school, but we do have some adults as well.
Yeah, I actually saw someone say in the chat box that they were looking at it for their mom, I believe, who gets super distracted. Yeah. And speaking of age range and such, we had a question kind of about like the difference between our first Revive and the new one in terms of style. And you might have touched on this, but just wanted to throw it out there that we got feedback from parents that, you know, obviously kids don't want to stand out when they're at school, so and have something different. So we really took that to heart and tried to make it essentially tried to make it look cool.
Yeah, that's so our first device, I came on, I've been on the project since 2015, and so I came on right at the tail end when Rich was finishing up designing the first product, and we thought at the time it was a cool design that kids would love.
Right, not to say that it wasn't cool.
Yeah, and so I still love it, honestly, but that's
right.
But for the second one we tried to make it look more, you know, like a fitness tracker, make it fit in. We chose a medical grade wristband material to try to be, you know, extra health and safety conscious. Another thing that I didn't mention is we are very health and safety conscious with everything that we do. So we get that question a lot about what materials we use, how safety oriented is our company, and the answer is very. So yeah, the hard plastics, the food grade plastic, the wristbands, and medical grade wristband material as well. Yeah, I think I saw a question from Robin about, does this work with other diagnoses that are not ADHD or ASD? So Robin, to answer your question, this is another popular question we probably should add to this webinar. If you, I'm assuming you're the parent or teacher, if you can explain how it works to the child, or if you just know based on working with them that they would respond well to a vibration prompt, it can be used for, they don't have to have a diagnosis. So they can have a different diagnosis, no diagnoses at all. It's just the concept of the metacognitive awareness and regulation, and will that work for that particular child? So we do have, as an example, we do have some adults that use it as a mindfulness or a breathing exercise. So when it vibrates, they just tell themselves to take a big deep breath, or just be mindful of their situation, things like that. So if the child will respond to, you know, a vibration prompt coupled with, you know, a question, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I taking a deep breath? Am I, you know, things of that nature, then yes, it could be used for that. We have a lot of people that use it for that. It's just, it depends a little bit on whether or not you think that they would respond to this type of prompt. Did that answer your question? If not, I can try again. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Robin, for your feedback. Oh, okay, about the 504 plan. So we get asked about like an IEP or a 504 plan. We do have a lot of relationships with schools where they will actually include them in the plans, but it to my understanding, and Rich, who's a school psychologist, is probably the best person to answer this, but to my understanding, it just depends on your particular case and who is purchasing the Revive Connect. So you can always ask your school if they have a budget for tools like this, because it is a behavior and intervention tool. We have a lot of schools that purchase for children, or if you as the parent wanted to purchase it for your child. So if you're interested in getting it added to like an IEP or something like that, talk to either your school psychologist or a teacher, and we have some literature that we can send you specifically for, Revive Connect for educators, to give them an understanding of what it is and how it works. So we can help you out with that as well if you're interested in proposing this to your school or your teacher. All right, how does the child respond if it vibrates? That's a very good question. So it'll vibrate and they can just tap on the face of the device, so they don't have to look at it, stop what they're doing if they're writing or taking notes. All they do is just tap once if they were off task, or twice if they were on task. It's a very quick, non-disruptive thing. We tried to keep it, since it was developed by a school psychologist, we tried to keep it as straightforward and not intrusive as possible.
Right, and we've also heard from users and parents just that when the kids are on task and they do get to tap back twice, that's a huge part of the confidence boosting as well, just like that silent reinforcement to themselves.
Yep, and it does the Revive will actually talk back to them, and so if they tap twice, the Revive will vibrate twice to confirm, like, good job, yes, you did it, I'm collecting your data. All right, Jesse has a really good question, which I'm an engineer, so I'm very excited to talk data. So Jesse, yes, so what we're doing is you can always reach out to us. We are happy to talk to you if you have specific questions. Another thing that we're doing for all of our customers, it's still in the works, so it's not part of our Plus plan now, but will be hopefully very shortly, is we're going to be providing some advanced insights. So using our analytical tools to actually give you like a little report or a little blurb that just says, oh, we noticed that your child's focus rate goes up when their step count goes up. So it might be a good idea to see if they can be more active during recess, or, something along those lines. It would be customized to your particular child and what your child's data is telling us. But things like that, where we can kind of make correlations and tell you, like, we've noticed this trend where, their focus rate is going up when this happens. Or if they're, struggling in a particular class over another, things like that. Yeah, no problem. So this, I believe, this offer for the $40 savings is in the next 48 hours, but we do have a payment plan option. So if you don't have, the $130 right this second to purchase, there's an option called Sezzle at checkout. So I'll have to double check and see if Sezzle works with this special webinar bundle. But if it does, we can hook you up with that too.
Yeah, totally should.
Okay, awesome. It's called Sezzle. It's a payment plan. Anyone can use it, so you guys can check it out.
I just typed it into the chat so you can see how it's spelled.
You're the best.
On the last page of checkout.
Woohoo! All right, before we finish up, these are great questions. Anyone else have any questions that I accidentally missed, or any other feedback before we log off? Nope. Last chats.
I wanted to jump in and say, this is Emily, by the way. I will be available over the phone, and I'll be working on chats and things like that. So if you have any questions, once Gwen and Morgan are gone, feel free to give us a call until 9 p.m. Eastern time, and I'll be happy to talk to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Emily. Emily leads up our customer service, and she does a whole bunch of other stuff as well. She's awesome. She'll take great care of you. All right. So I'm not sure who Galaxy J3 is, but if you could send us an email, because it's not showing your name, just so that we can send you that the educator information that you can send on to your teacher or school psychologist. Are you able to view afterwards? Yeah, so we're gonna provide insights and then just have them saved, so that way you can go back and not have to remember them off the top of your head. Is there a monthly cost? So this Bundle is giving you 13 months of our Plus plan. After that, depending on which plan you pick, annually, it breaks out to about $6 a month. So if you do that math, you guys are getting a huge savings on our Plus plan. And we are going to have some options for you guys to discount your Plus plan after the first year, with things like referrals or I don't know. Sometimes we do some fun, like if you answer a survey for us, we'll give you a credit or things like that. So Alicia, thank you for coming.
Yeah, after we're done and the webinar downloads to my computer, I'm gonna shoot it out to everyone, so you'll have it tonight, guys, if you want to go back and see anything too.
Oh yeah, thanks for mentioning that. I forgot to mention that, but we're going to send you an email with this recording. So if you came in a little bit late or I was talking too fast, there'll be a replay, and it'll also include this webinar bundle. So if you're interested in taking advantage of this special deal for you guys, that link will be in there as well. All right. Also, if you, yes, please, Galaxy J3 Prime. It's not showing your name for some reason. So if you don't mind just sending us an email, it's support@revibetech.com. It's in the lower left-hand corner. And then Emily can go ahead and take care of you. We'll send you the educator pamphlet that explains what it is. And if they have a budget at all for like behavior intervention tools, sometimes they can leverage their budget and buy it for their classroom. But we can send you some helpful information to send to the teachers. Perfect. Oh, thank you. You guys are so sweet. Honestly, we really do, like, we do this because we love helping the kids, and it's our biggest thing. Like when we're bringing on new team members, they have to understand that we do this to help people first. And that's really our main goal. And that's why we're always interested in feedback. And if anyone ever has any issues or questions or things that they want to see that we don't have, we always love hearing from our customers and seeing how we can best help you. All right, Tony bought it on Amazon, but wants the 2 replacement bands. Tony, if you can also email support@RevibTech, and we'll see your order information and how we can help. Or you can give us a call. Either phone number or email is probably the easiest thing. All right, guys, I think we're approaching 8 p.m., so we are going to sign off, but thank you so much again for signing on and spending your Wednesday afternoon or evening with us, depending on your time zone. We really appreciate it. Don't forget to keep an eye out for that email. Go to this link and take advantage of the savings, and feel free to send us any feedback via phone or email. We love to hear from you guys, see how we can help, see ways that we can improve. We are always really excited to talk to our customers. All right, thank you guys so much. You're awesome. I hope you have a great rest of your night.